What if I told you the biggest focus killer in your life isn't your age, isn't your memory, and isn't even stress itself? It's your daily routine. Not the big dramatic moments, not the emergencies, but the quiet, invisible habits that repeat every single day. The rushed mornings, the sugary snacks, the long hours sitting, the constant scrolling, the late nights in front of a glowing screen. These small choices seem harmless, but over time, they quietly train your brain to lose clarity, energy, and sharpness. And here's the truth most people never hear. After 50 or 60, your brain is still powerful. It is still adaptable, it is still capable of growth, but it responds directly to how you treat it every day. The hidden focus killer is not aging, it's accumulated micro-neglect. Most people assume that losing focus is simply part of getting older. They blame birthdays, gray hair, or the passing of time. But the real focus killer is far more subtle and far more within your control. It is daily micro-neglect. It is the collection of small habits repeated over months and years that quietly chip away at mental clarity. Not dramatic events, not sudden illness, just the ordinary routine lived on autopilot. It begins the moment you wake up. Reaching for your phone before your feet touch the floor instantly throws your brain into reaction mode. Notifications, news, messages, noise. Instead of allowing your mind to enter the day calmly and intentionally, you train it to be distracted before it is even fully awake. This pattern, repeated every morning, conditions your attention to scatter. Then comes breakfast, or sometimes no breakfast at all. Skipping meals or choosing processed, sugary foods causes blood sugar spikes followed by crashes. Those crashes feel like brain fog, irritability, and poor concentration. It is not a mystery. The brain depends on stable fuel. When fuel fluctuates wildly, focus follows the same unstable path. Yet many people repeat this pattern daily without realizing the long-term cost. Hours of sitting add another invisible layer of decline. When the body remains still for too long, circulation slows. Oxygen delivery to the brain decreases, energy drops. You may interpret this as aging, but often it is simply inactivity. The human brain evolved alongside movement. Walking, stretching, and light activity stimulate alertness. Without them, mental sharpness dulls gradually. Sleep is another silent contributor. Going to bed late, watching screens in dim rooms, or keeping irregular sleep schedules prevents the brain from fully restoring itself. During deep sleep, the brain clears waste products and resets attention circuits. When sleep is shortened or fragmented, focus the next day weakens. Over time, chronic poor sleep becomes chronic mental fatigue. Perhaps the most damaging form of micro-neglect is negative self-talk. Saying, "I'm just getting old," or "my memory isn't what it used to be," may seem harmless, but the brain listens. Stress hormones rise when you interpret small lapses as proof of decline. Elevated stress interferes with memory formation and attention control. The belief that you are deteriorating can become a self-fulfilling pattern reinforced daily. Constant multitasking compounds the issue. Switching between television, phone, conversations, and tasks trains the brain to prefer novelty over sustained attention. Focus becomes shorter not because it cannot last, but because it has not been practiced. Attention, like a muscle, weakens without intentional use. None of these habits seem catastrophic on their own. That is why they are so dangerous. Each one feels small, almost insignificant, but micro-neglect compounds. Small distractions become scattered thinking. Minor sleep loss becomes persistent fatigue. Slight inactivity becomes reduced mental energy. Gradually, you look back and assume that age is responsible, but what has truly happened is accumulation. Accumulation of rushed mornings, unstable nutrition, prolonged sitting, inconsistent sleep, and discouraging inner dialogue, shaping the brain's daily environment in ways that quietly erode clarity and resilience over time. There is a powerful myth that once you pass 50 or 60, your brain begins an unavoidable downhill slide. People speak about memory loss and reduced focus as if they are guaranteed outcomes written into the calendar. But science tells a different story. Your brain remains adaptable, responsive, and capable of growth throughout your entire life. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize, form new connections, and strengthen existing pathways, does not retire when you do. Every time you learn something new, your brain forms fresh neural connections. Every time you practice a skill, those connections strengthen. This does not stop with age. In fact, older adults often have an advantage. Decades of accumulated knowledge create rich networks in the brain, allowing new information to connect more deeply and meaningfully. Experience becomes a framework that supports continued learning. The challenge is not that the brain loses its ability to adapt. The challenge is that many people stop challenging it. Routine becomes rigid. Curiosity fades. Days begin to look identical. When the brain is not stimulated, it conserves energy. It trims unused pathways. This is not decline, it is efficiency. The brain responds to demand. If you demand growth, it responds with growth. Physical movement plays a direct role in this adaptability. Light exercise increases blood flow to the brain and stimulates the release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, often described as fertilizer for brain cells. This chemical supports the survival of neurons and encourages the formation of new connections. A simple daily walk can signal your brain to maintain and even enhance its capacity. Nutrition also influences adaptability. Healthy fats from nuts and seeds help maintain cell membrane integrity. Antioxidants from berries protect brain cells from oxidative stress. Leafy greens provide essential vitamins that support neurotransmitter production. When you nourish your body consistently, you create the biological conditions that allow the brain to repair and reorganize itself. Sleep remains one of the most powerful tools for neuroplasticity. During deep sleep, the brain consolidates memories, strengthens learning pathways, and clears metabolic waste. When sleep is protected and prioritized, the brain has the opportunity to refine and reinforce what you practice during the day. Without adequate rest, even the best mental efforts struggle to stick. Mental stimulation is equally important. Reading a new book, learning a language, playing a musical instrument, solving puzzles, or even engaging in thoughtful conversation challenges the brain to adapt. These activities are not just hobbies, they are signals. They tell your brain that it is still needed, still active, still growing. Perhaps most importantly, belief shapes biology. When you believe your brain can improve, you are more likely to engage in behaviors that support growth. This creates a positive cycle. Effort leads to improvement. Improvement reinforces belief. Over time, confidence replaces fear. Aging does bring changes, but change does not mean incapacity. Slower processing can be balanced by deeper understanding. Fewer distractions can mean stronger wisdom. The brain after 60 is not broken. It is experienced, adaptable, and ready to respond to consistent, intentional stimulation and care in ways that continue building strength, clarity, and resilience. Across the years, mental clarity does not return through dramatic transformation. It returns through simple, consistent shifts that gently reset the rhythm of your day. Many people search for complex solutions, expensive supplements, or extreme routines, believing that focus requires something extraordinary. In reality, the brain responds best to steady, foundational habits practiced with intention. It can begin the moment you wake up. Instead of reaching for your phone, allow your mind a few quiet minutes. Open a window. Step outside. Let natural morning light touch your eyes. That light sends a signal to your brain to regulate your internal clock, balance hormones, and increase alertness. Within minutes, your body begins to align with the day ahead. This small ritual builds stability before distractions have a chance to scatter your attention. Nutrition is another powerful lever. When you choose whole, balanced foods, you provide your brain with steady fuel. Protein in the morning supports neurotransmitter production, helping you feel focused and motivated. Healthy fats from nuts, seeds, or olive oil protect brain cells and improve communication between them. Leafy greens offer essential vitamins that assist memory processes. Berries provide antioxidants that shield the brain from oxidative stress. Even consistent hydration plays a crucial role because mild dehydration alone can cause fatigue and difficulty concentrating. These are not dramatic dietary overhauls. They are steady upgrades that reduce mental fog day by day. Movement may be the most underestimated tool for restoring clarity. Light exercise increases circulation, delivering oxygen and nutrients to brain tissue. A brisk 20-minute walk, gentle stretching, yoga, or light resistance training can elevate mood and sharpen thinking. Movement also stimulates chemicals that support neuron health and connection strength. You do not need intensity, you need consistency. The goal is to remind your brain that the body is active and engaged. Sleep anchors all other habits. Going to bed at a regular time helps regulate circadian rhythms, making it easier to fall asleep and wake refreshed. Reducing screen exposure before bed protects melatonin production, allowing deeper rest. During sleep, the brain consolidates memories and clears waste products that accumulate during waking hours. When sleep improves, focus the next day feels smoother and more natural. Equally important are small lifestyle rhythms that protect mental space. Scheduling short breaks between tasks prevents cognitive overload. Spending time in nature lowers stress hormones that interfere with attention. Maintaining social connections stimulates conversation, empathy, and memory recall. Even brief moments of gratitude shift emotional tone, reducing mental tension and supporting clarity. These shifts may appear simple, but simplicity is their strength. They are sustainable. They can be repeated every day without exhaustion. Over time, repetition becomes reinforcement. Reinforcement becomes stability. Stability becomes clarity. When you consistently provide your brain with light, nourishment, movement, rest, and calm structure, it responds by organizing itself more efficiently. Focus stops feeling forced. Energy becomes steadier. Distractions lose their intensity. What once felt like decline begins to feel like renewal, powered by small daily choices that quietly restore balance and sharpen attention from the inside out. Many people separate the brain from the body, as if focus exists only in the mind and not in the physical system that supports it. They try to think harder, concentrate longer, push through fatigue with sheer willpower. But focus is not simply a mental effort. It is the result of biological processes happening every second inside your body. Movement and nutrition are not just about staying fit or maintaining weight. They are direct investments in how clearly and consistently you can think. Your brain consumes a significant portion of your daily energy. Even at rest, it requires a constant supply of oxygen and nutrients to function efficiently. When your body is nourished with whole, balanced foods, you stabilize blood sugar levels, which prevents the mental crashes that lead to fogginess and irritability. Processed foods high in refined sugars may offer temporary energy, but they often create sharp spikes followed by sudden drops. That drop is when concentration weakens, patience shortens, and motivation fades. Over time, repeated instability trains your brain into cycles of inconsistency. Healthy fats play a crucial role in cognitive performance. The brain is composed largely of fat, and the quality of fats you consume affects how well brain cells communicate. Sources like nuts, seeds, avocados, and olive oil help maintain the flexibility and strength of cell membranes. Proteins provide amino acids that form neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers responsible for focus, mood, and memory. Leafy greens and colorful vegetables supply vitamins and antioxidants that protect neurons from damage caused by oxidative stress. Hydration ensures efficient blood flow and nutrient transport. Even mild dehydration can reduce alertness and impair short-term memory. Movement complements nutrition by activating circulation. When you walk, stretch, or engage in light resistance exercises, your heart pumps more efficiently, delivering oxygen-rich blood to the brain. This increased blood flow enhances alertness and stimulates the release of beneficial compounds that support neuron growth and connectivity. Physical activity also reduces stress hormones that interfere with attention. After even a short walk, many people notice improved clarity and a lighter mental state. Importantly, movement does not have to be intense to be effective. Gentle consistency matters more than occasional extremes. A daily 20-minute walk, simple yoga sequences, gardening, or light strength exercises create cumulative benefits. Each session reinforces neural pathways associated with energy regulation and emotional stability. Over weeks and months, these small sessions build resilience within the brain. When nutrition and movement work together, they create a stable internal environment. Blood sugar steadies, hormones balance, circulation improves, stress reduces. In that balanced state, focus feels natural rather than forced. You are no longer fighting fatigue or fog. You are supporting clarity from the inside out. Thinking of food and exercise as brain fuel changes motivation. You are not just eating for taste or moving for appearance. You are feeding attention. You are strengthening memory. You are protecting independence. Every balanced meal and every gentle workout becomes a signal to your brain that it is valued and supported, encouraging sustained mental sharpness and vitality that continues building with each consistent choice. The most powerful force shaping your focus is not found in a supplement bottle or a productivity system. It lives in the quiet conversation you have with yourself every single day. Mindset influences chemistry. Thoughts influence hormones. Beliefs influence behavior. When it comes to mental clarity after 50 or 60, the story you tell yourself can either strengthen your brain or slowly weaken it. Many people unknowingly adopt a narrative of decline. A forgotten name becomes evidence of deterioration. A misplaced item becomes proof that I'm not as sharp as I used to be. These small moments are normal at any age, yet when interpreted negatively, they trigger stress. Stress releases cortisol, and elevated cortisol over time interferes with memory formation and attention control. The brain becomes tense rather than focused. Instead of calmly retrieving information, it reacts defensively. But when you shift the interpretation, everything changes. Forget a name and say, "It will come back to me." Misplace your keys and respond, "I was distracted, I'll be more mindful next time." This subtle reframing reduces stress and preserves confidence. Confidence supports cognitive performance. A calm brain retrieves information more efficiently than an anxious one. Gratitude is another mental habit that sharpens focus. When you intentionally reflect on what is working in your life, your nervous system shifts toward balance. Heart rate steadies, muscles relax, attention broadens, you become more present. A grateful brain is less preoccupied with fear and more capable of sustained concentration. Even writing down 3 simple things you appreciate each day can gradually retrain your mental outlook. Purpose adds another layer of power. When you wake up with something meaningful to engage in, your brain activates differently. Purpose stimulates motivation circuits and reinforces attention networks. It does not need to be grand. It can be caring for a grandchild, tending a garden, volunteering, learning a skill, or contributing wisdom to others. Meaning organizes thought. It gives focus direction. Social connection also multiplies mental resilience. Engaging in conversation challenges memory, empathy, and verbal processing. Sharing ideas stimulates multiple regions of the brain at once. Isolation, on the other hand, narrows stimulation and can amplify negative thinking. Even small, regular interactions strengthen cognitive flexibility and emotional stability. Curiosity keeps the brain youthful. When you approach life with the mindset of a learner rather than someone who has finished growing, you activate neuroplasticity. Trying a new hobby, exploring a new topic, or asking questions signals your brain to adapt. Growth becomes ongoing rather than something left behind in earlier decades. Mindset is not blind optimism. It is intentional interpretation. It is choosing to see lapses as temporary rather than permanent. It is believing improvement is possible and acting accordingly. That belief influences daily decisions about sleep, movement, nutrition, and engagement. Over time, those aligned behaviors reinforce clarity and resilience. When you nurture a positive, growth-oriented mindset, you lower stress chemistry, increase motivation, and strengthen attention pathways. focus becomes steadier not because life is perfect, but because your internal dialogue supports performance instead of undermining it, creating a foundation of confidence and mental strength that continues expanding with every supportive thought you choose to repeat.